let's talk to Lord McKinley, Conservative peer, a man who knows a thing or two, of course, about net zero as well, because one of the things that's gone wrong this morning, in addition to the 67% of the people disapproving of the government, is that it's going to cost us £800 billion, according to the Office for Budget Responsibility, to stick with the net zero claims and the targets that we've made for ourselves by 2050. It's a story in The Sun. Lord McKinley, very good morning to you.
Yeah, morning to you, Mike. Good to be with you.
Good to see you. You were very active on the Net Zero Watch Committee, I suppose, for want of a better phrase, when you were an MP. I presume you still take a big interest in it. This is a pretty devastating report from the OBR in general about the state of our country's economy, saying it's very vulnerable, it could literally fall off a cliff at any moment. Surely it would make perfect sense for the Labour government to go, oh, I know what we'll do. We'll just stop these net zero targets and save ourselves 800 billion.
I think the government has got some very, very tough decisions down the line, and I don't think down the line is very far away, actually. The OBR report is generally fairly glossy in favour of particularly Labour governments, I have to say, and even they can't really hold back about the risks that the country is facing. I mean, you've got a choice in life. Well, if you're running out of money, the government's got a choice. Either taxes more, which I think I'm pretty certain is going to be on the agenda for the budget in October, or it stops spending. Now, I'd rather we stopped some spending.
Yes.
And this government has proven itself to be incapable of stopping spending. Even, a minor suppression of the ever-escalating benefits bill faced opposition by backbenchers last week, and the PM, as ever, U-turned back down and caused some consternation amongst the Chancellor and the Treasury. So, yeah, the other way that you could save a fair bit of money would be not to keep supporting these nonsensical net zero pathways. 22 billion is proposed for an as yet untested, unknown technology of storing carbon. I mean, that equates to the output of one coal-powered power station. And by the way, China's building one new one of those every single week. India's not far behind. Indonesia hasn't really started on that pathway, and Africa is really in the strops waiting to go. So we're going to spend 22 billion on the incremental increase of one power station that China does a week. These type of nonsenses have got to stop. We've already got the most expensive electricity of anywhere in the world. We're seeing what's left of our industrial heritage, the high energy businesses in ceramics and certainly steel and other industries, just simply shutting up shop, disappearing, reconfiguring those factories in China, and then sending the stuff back to the UK. And hey presto, we look very virtuous because our CO2 has reduced.
Yes.
Now this has got to stop. It has to stop. And this is my gift to the government, if you like. You can't seem to stop spending on benefits. You can't seem to stop spending on an NHS, which is just a black hole that just opens up in front of your feet and will absorb anything you throw at it. The one thing you could do something about, and it might be popular as well, stop spending on the net zero nonsense.
Yeah, because it would seem like it's an easy thing not to spend money on, because it doesn't exist as such. You're talking about not spending money on setting things up, that don't need to be set up, perhaps.
Well, absolutely. That's why I think it's the gift there. Whether Keir Starmer's actually got control over Ed Miliband is a moot point. I'm sure the beleaguered Chancellor would like to have some opportunity of spending less on something. But you're quite right. It doesn't exist yet. It hasn't been built. It won't be missed. And frankly, even if it was built, we wouldn't even have any benefit from it because the whole thing is totally nonsensical. Yeah. I want reliable energy, and to me that means domestic gas. I mean, what is the point in buying Norwegian gas and oil, which we spend £30 billion a year doing? We get no tax out of it, we get no jobs, we get no investment, and yet it's literally coming out of the same basin that we could be exploiting ourselves. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you want some of the, you described earlier, everything they touch turns to something not gold. I'd say something rather more unpleasant. This is most certainly one of those. It's the most mad of policies that I can ever imagine. And what's left of what was a very successful oil and gas industry is now just shutting up shop because they've raised the tax so high that, who would bother? Set up in Brazil instead and just export it back to the UK.
Yeah.
And that is the big oil companies are doing. I would if I were them. Why would you stay here and get taxed to death?
Yes, exactly right. And another bit of breaking news this morning has just come in. The HS2 high-speed train line is only about 1/3 complete. This is according to the project's new chief executive, Mark Wilde, who told this to MPs, I think, in a committee meeting yesterday. So it's even further behind schedule than anybody ever thought. And it's only ever going to go to one place, Birmingham.
Well, I'm afraid this is just... It almost outlines in spades times 10 the failure of government procurement. And I'm afraid you don't need to read too many National Audit Office reports. I used to be on the Public Accounts Committee for a few. There was a disaster around the corner every single week. You scratch the surface on Ministry of Defence procurement, and I'm afraid there are horror stories there, left, right, and centre. But HS2 really does personify, the madness of a quango that has just got completely out of control, seemingly unaccountable, and every time it comes back to committees in Parliament, there is another load of spend. And I don't need to remind you or your listeners about that ridiculous bat tunnel that was going to cost 120 million for a bat problem that seemingly didn't exist. But I mean, that's just small beer in the scheme of this potential £100 billion project to create a train that I can't see anybody really wants to use. It'll unbelievably expensive. It doesn't actually get you to the city centre of Birmingham. Doesn't even start in the city centre of London.
No.
So you really have to wonder what it's for. I mean, are we getting to a stage where you say, hold on, stop this. Let's just cover it in tarmac and make a decent road that we will use.
Exactly right. This is great to talk to you. Lord McKinley, thank you very much indeed.